Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference has spoken out, saying she is heartbroken at the response of people towards SJSU and towards the whole tournament, with all of the forfeits and everything, with 5 schools now forfeiting. And it appears that they believe Trump is partly to blame, because Trump recently came out and said that he would ban transgender athletes in women's sports. Trump also mentioned a female athlete getting hit by a ball that had been spiked by this male athlete, Blair Fleming. And they're saying that Trump got the details wrong.
How many of you are worried about biological men and boys competing against women and girls in sports? Just show me. That's almost that is the entire room. And I know you have a question.
I do.
By the way, excuse me, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Your question,
Yes.
Your name and your hometown.
My name is Linda, and I'm from Milton, Georgia.
Good.
But originally Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, wow.
I'd get that
good.
in there. My question is, how do you plan on addressing the transgender issue in women's sports? I have 9 grandchildren, 6 of them female, all playing sports, and we are very concerned for their safety, not just on the field and the courts, but in their locker rooms as well.
Right. It's such an easy question, and everybody in the room, and you know that answer, we're not going to let it happen. You look, just yesterday, they had a volleyball match. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where a person that transitioned, okay? We have to be very careful because this can terminate your political career if you say it's slightly off, all right? But transitioned from man to female and was on a volleyball. And I saw the slam. It was a slam. I never saw a ball hit so hard. Hit the girl on the head. But other people, even in volleyball, they've been permanently, they've been really hurt badly, women playing men. But you don't have to do the volleyball. We stop it. We stop it. We absolutely stop it. You can't have it. It's a man playing in the game. Physically, from a muscular state, even if it was a little bit less, maybe they do all sorts of tests and drugs and everything else. Look at what's happened in swimming. Look at the records that are being broken.
So how do you stop it? Do you go to the sports leagues? Do you go to the Olympic
You just ban
councils?
it. The president bans it. You just don't let it happen. Not a big deal.
So he basically said he was going to ban transgender athletes competing in women's sports via executive order. And he made it sound like it was pretty simple to do on day one. So the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, Gloria Nevarez, she said that she doesn't take any pleasure in the forfeitures, that it's something that we do not celebrate in college athletics. And she said she's heartbroken about the situation. So it was Southern Utah State. They began the forfeits. Then it was Boise, Utah State, and then Wyoming. And none of these schools explicitly said why they were forfeiting. You sort of had to read between the lines. But obviously with Nevada, the girls themselves released their own statement, and they mentioned fair and safe sports and injustice against women. And the school panicked because they said that by state law, they can't be seen to be forfeiting due to gender identity, because that goes against state law as it pertains to discrimination. So the school reaffirmed on Thursday that the match is still planned and that state law bars forfeiture for reasons related to gender identity or expression. All those schools except Southern Utah are in the Mountain West. New Mexico, also in the Mountain West Conference, went ahead with its home match on Thursday night, which was won by the Spartans 3-1, the team's first victory since September 24. So she said, "It breaks my heart because they're human beings. Young people, student athletes on both sides of this issue that are getting a lot of national negative attention," Nevarez said in an interview with the Associated Press at Mountain West Basketball Media Days. "It just doesn't feel right to me. I don't understand how anybody thinks it's perfectly natural for a male athlete to compete in a women's competition. And then when people point out the obvious, you act stunned. I just don't understand this. This is basic common sense. Male athletes do not belong in women's competitions. People shouldn't have to point this out." Republican governors of Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming have made public statements in support of the cancellations, citing a need for fairness in women's sports. Former President Trump, the GOP nominee in this year's presidential race, this week referenced an unidentified volleyball match when he was asked during a Fox News town hall about transgender athletes in women's sports. So as you saw there, Trump said that the ball hit the girl in the head. He'd never seen a slam hit so hard. And he said that he's just going to ban it. You just don't let it happen. After Trump's comment, this is an ABC article, by the way. After Trump's comment, San Diego State issued a statement that said, it has been incorrectly reported that a San Diego State University student athlete was hit in the face with a volleyball during match play with San Jose State University. The ball bounced off the shoulder of the student athlete, and the athlete was uninjured and did not miss a play. So you can talk about, oh, it's not the face or whatever, but she was hit by a ball that had been spiked by this person, and even the announcer said that she's turning pink, that she's embarrassed, she's trying to laugh it off. So if you think that's okay, then fine. But most of us don't think it's okay for a male athlete to play in women's competitions. Most people don't think it's okay to put a female athlete in a position where she's more likely to get injured. Male athletes spike the ball faster than female athletes. Just look at the records. So most people don't think it's right to put a female athlete in that position in the first place. And we saw what happened to Peyton McNabb. So then she goes on to say that she doesn't know much about this situation. Doesn't know much about the terminology, about the science. This is another thing that gets me when they talk about the science. The science has been there from the very beginning, practically from the beginning of time. Men are stronger, faster, can jump higher, hit harder than women. This has been known. This is why when women joined the Olympics, they had their own category. They didn't just throw them in with the men. Nobody wants to see that. Back in 1900, they knew that women needed their own category. So why is it different now? What science do you need to know that men shouldn't be competing against women? Look up the science about hormones and suppressing testosterone. You will find that it doesn't take away the advantage that male bodies have over female bodies. Not by any significant amount.
Southern Utah was the first team to forfeit. 4 Mountain West teams followed suit. Boise State, Wyoming, Utah State, and Nevada. The conference says it's up to each institution to make its own choice. The NCAA transgender policy is different for each sport and is determined by the governing body of that sport. For USA Volleyball, one of the stipulations is that transgender women must have testosterone levels under 10 nanomoles per liter for at least 1 year before playing. According to WebMD, the normal levels for men range from 10 to 35, and for women, it's 0.5 to 2.4. All transgender athletes must reapply after each season.
Fleming.
And the sporting body for volleyball says that the male athlete has to have testosterone under 10 nanomoles. The average female has a fraction of that. So if his testosterone was 9.5 nanomoles, that's going to be way over the testosterone levels of the average female athlete. Way over. And that's supposed to make it okay because it's under 10 nanomoles? If a female athlete doped and started taking tea and got her testosterone levels up to 8 nanomoles, she would be banned for cheating. But when a male athlete crosses over into the wrong category and has testosterone levels way above the female athletes, they're celebrated. You don't need a PhD in biology to understand this. That's just a cop-out when people say they don't know the science yet. Why don't you know it then? Meanwhile, there's a transgender athlete competing in the women's competition in your conference. So you don't know about this, but you're still endorsing it. You're still allowing it. And I don't care that this person has been playing for a while now. The person involved in Peyton McNabb's injury had been playing for a while too. She had played this person multiple times. She had been used to playing this person. That doesn't make it okay. It only takes one time. And unfortunately, on that one occasion, she ended up getting severely injured to the extent of dealing with partial paralysis. So Nevarez said, I'm learning a lot about the issue. I don't know a lot about the language yet, or the science, or the understanding nationally of how this issue plays out. The external influences are so far on either side. We have an election year. It's political, so yeah. It feels like a no-win based on all the external pressure. Almost sounds like the coach there. The coach was saying this is all political. It's people trying to, one-up each other politically. Coach was basically implying that that's what this was all about. No one's even mentioning the fact that this person is male. No one's mentioning the fact that these women have safety concerns. The cancellations could mean some teams will not qualify for the conference tournament November 27 to 30 in Las Vegas, where the top 6 schools are slated to compete for the league championship. The student athlete in question meets the eligibility standard. So if a team does not play them, it's a forfeit, meaning they take a loss. This was not the case in New Mexico, where the coach, John Newman Gonchar, said his team discussed whether to play SJSU. We're a volleyball team that wants to compete and get better. There really wasn't much of a conversation so much about the personnel on the other side of the team. We just asked, are you comfortable playing? Are there any concerns? Every single athlete said they were excited to play and get better. That's interesting. So he's saying the girls decided they all wanted to play. San Jose State coach Todd Kress said playing was his team's safe haven and noted that security and police escorts are now involved when his team takes the court. He has not discussed specific players publicly since the forfeits began. And one of the reasons for the police escorts is because Brooks Lusser received death threats. And this coach, maybe because he can't for legal reasons, but he's still not addressing the elephant in the room. He's referring to everybody as female. I know that it's definitely taken a toll on many of them. They're receiving messages of hate, which is completely ridiculous to me. Some of those people are the underbelly of society, that you attack an 18, 19, 20-year-old female. And even more so, if you're a parent and you're attacking 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Would you want your student athlete, your daughter, to face the same kind of hate that you're dishing out? Again, saying that a male athlete shouldn't compete in a women's competition is not hate. It's just fact. The Spartans next play Saturday, Air Force, a week before the scheduled October 26 match in Reno, if it goes on. So the commissioner went on to say, she said, when we had our first forfeit, there was a lot of heartbreak. And now we've kind of not come to expect it, but we know the certain programs that may forfeit. It still does hurt our student athletes when we don't play a match. But I think they've come to accept it a little more, and I think that's a very unfortunate thing to say. It just seems that none of these people in authority seem to care about maintaining the integrity and fairness of women's sports. How does allowing male athletes to compete in women's competitions promote fairness, promote safety, promote the integrity of the women's competition? No one is yet able to explain that, other than they meet the requirements, they're on medication. That's all they're able to say. How does this help the future of women's sports? We're looking at records that are held by male athletes. How is that fair to the women? We're looking at scholarships that are taken by male athletes. Again, how is that fair to the female athletes? This isn't a co-ed competition. It's as if they haven't thought about the long-term implications. For some reason, they think it's perfectly okay for a woman to get hit on the shoulder or on the neck by a ball that has been spiked by somebody who can hit and spike the ball a lot faster than the female athletes on the court, simply because they're male. They think that's okay, apparently, and it's Trump's fault. This isn't about Trump. This is about the insanity going too far and destroying women's sports in the long run, not to mention all the other factors such as safety and the locker room situation as well. The coach was talking about what goes on in the locker room is our business, what we discuss in the locker room. They think it's perfectly okay to keep information from female athletes, have them sharing hotel rooms, locker rooms, accommodation with somebody who's male. Brooks Lusser did not consent to sharing a hotel room with a male athlete. Brooks Lusser did not consent to sharing accommodation with somebody who was male because she wasn't even informed. And then they plead ignorance. Oh, well, I don't know the science yet. I'm just going along with it. I don't know much about it though. Instead of just applying basic common sense. Go and look at the boys team and look at how they play, and go and look at the women and see how they play. They play differently. And it's so funny because if someone walked over from the boys team and wanted to play in the women's competition, people would say that was absurd. Even the coach, the Mountain West commissioner would say it's absurd. Todd Kress would say it's absurd. But again, when it comes to identity and respecting someone's gender identity, we're now doing that at the expense of the women. So let me know what you think. Do you feel sorry for this commissioner and the coach and all these people who are saying it's heartbreaking? Do you feel sorry for them? Do you feel sorry for the players who don't get to play because of the forfeits? So yeah, let me know. So thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.